everybody, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we'll be going over 10 facts about Chris Duarte, the newly drafted Indiana Pacer. Make sure you stick around until the end of the video to find out just how good Duarte is on the basketball court and how he could impact the Pacers franchise this season. Starting off with number 10, Chris Duarte has become just the 10th NBA player who is from the Dominican Republic. Basketball has been increasing in popularity all over the world, even in the Dominican Republic, which has been dominated by baseball for quite some time now. According to Real GM, there have only been 9 Dominican players to make it into the NBA, with Tito Horford becoming the very first back in 1988. Tito was selected by the Milwaukee Bucks and ended up having a son by the name of Al Horford. That name might ring a bell, right? Horford was an integral part of the Boston Celtics throughout the prime of his career, and he still plays to this day, just like Karl Anthony Towns, another Dominican player. Duarte now joins a growing list of these players, and there should be a couple more charging their way into the league soon enough. Lester Quinones, Joel Soriano, and Justin Minaya are 3 college players who are just bound to take that next step too. However, none of them have a higher ceiling than Duarte does right now. Moving on to number 9, Duarte was actually supposed to play at Western Kentucky instead of Oregon. Duarte spent a lot of his time growing up in New York when he started to reel in the accolades. Those accolades got him invited to the 2017 Jordan Brand Classic game, where he played alongside other future stars like Colin Gillespie and Jordan Nwora. That game was a massive stepping stone for him, as Western Kentucky offered him a scholarship to play for the school. Duarte accepted shortly after, but then came to a different conclusion later on. He chose to deny the scholarship and attend junior college instead. The majority of times, this type of move completely throws off a player's future in the NBA, yet Duarte made the most out of it and improved from it. Next up, at number 8, the junior college scene was dominated by Duarte. As we just talked about, Duarte opted not to go with Western Kentucky and went to junior college instead. Well, that junior college he picked was Northwest Florida State College. Ayo Dosunmu and Kofi Cockburn were 2 other players on that team at the same time, which goes to show how dominant they were throughout that year. Unfortunately, the 2020 NCAA tournament was canceled, so they were never able to prove their dominance. Duarte played 2 seasons there and did eventually get the team to the Elite 8 in the NJCAA and was awarded with all-conference honors. This was one of the biggest reasons he got more options the next couple of years. That and the fact he was awarded with the NJCAA Player of the Year award in 2019 behind his 19 points per game. Duarte took one of those options when he felt the time was right and headed over to Oregon in a transfer. Coming in at number 7, 2021 was a ridiculously good year for Duarte in terms of accolades. Not only did he answer the doubters who said he wouldn't be able to play at a higher level, but he was awarded handsomely in the process. He picked up multiple Pac-12 Player of the Week awards and was eventually an honorable mention for the All-Pac-12 team. Later on, he won the Jerry West Award and was placed on the All-American Third Team, as well as winning the Pac-12 Player of the Year award. Duarte proved this season that he belonged in the NBA. One of his biggest games throughout the year was a 30-point, 11-assist, and 8-steal masterpiece in Eugene. He did shoot just 33% from beyond the arc in his time in JC, but raised that number to 42.4% with Oregon. For a player who opted to go such a non-traditional route, Duarte really showed the world in that first season with his new team why he deserved to make it into the NBA. Moving on now to number 6, Duarte joins a growing list of Oregon Ducks drafted into the NBA. This was the 5th consecutive NBA draft that saw a player from Oregon being drafted. The streak originally started in 2017 when they had 3 players taken: Jordan Bell, Tyler Dorsey, and Dylan Brooks. Bell, of course, won a championship with the Golden State Warriors, and Brooks is one of the best young shooting guards in the league. The year before that, Troy Brown Jr. was drafted in the 2nd round. Then, Bol Bol found his way into the league despite falling all the way down to number 44 overall. And finally, we saw Peyton Pritchard go to the Celtics in 2020 in the 1st round. Oregon may not be the best basketball school, nor are they a top recruitment school by any means. However, they just seem to be able to develop talent unlike anything we've ever seen. Teams should be taking a far closer look at the upcoming prospects coming out of Oregon more often. Now we're on to number 5. Chris Duarte is actually one of the oldest players in this recent draft. He was selected to play for the Indiana Pacers in the first round, but finds himself as one of the older players on the roster. It's kind of funny to think that other rebuilding pieces that the Pacers have been holding on to for years now are somehow younger than their most recent rookie. Goga Bitadze, O'Shea Brissett, and Cassius Stanley are all among the younger players on the roster. Goga had that infamous picture of him sitting next to Zion Williamson prior to the draft, and it feels like he's been around forever. Stanley and Brissett are two other young players who've been bursting onto the scene lately and could potentially see a lot more playing time in 2021. Moving on to number 4, Chris Duarte traveled a lot growing up and needed to work on his English at one point. Duarte was born in Canada, yet he was raised in the Dominican Republic and actually grew up playing baseball instead of basketball. Basketball first started to come around when he was about 13 years old, but by then he had trouble with his English. He had to attend Redemption Christian Academy's boarding school that was located in Massachusetts in order to get situated before going even further to Florida in order to play at junior college. Here's what Duarte told reporters about his fast-moving life. "I think me, by leaving the culture and my family at a young age, I think what I went through, high school, all the process, being here without family, without money. First, I was without a phone. So when I wanted to call my mom or somebody close to me, I had to ask somebody for a phone. I think all of the struggle I was going through, it helped me to grow up." Now, when I first heard this story, I was pretty shocked to even believe it. I couldn't even begin to imagine what he had to battle through during that time. But he can finally say that all this hard work was worth it in the end. He's in a situation now with the Pacers and is one step closer to becoming an NBA superstar. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video in order to find out just how good Duarte could be in the NBA and what talents make him so special. But first, we'll go on to number 3. Duarte did something that nobody else has ever done in Oregon Duck history, and that was win the Jerry West Award. We did mention earlier in the video that he picked up this award, but we didn't say how rare it is for a Duck to win it. The Jerry West Award is always handed out to the nation's best shooting guard, and Duarte met the requirements quite nicely. Pritchard was able to take home the Bob Cousy Award the year before Duarte by being the best point guard in the nation. Apparently, Oregon does a great job finding studs in their backcourt. Duarte was given the Jerry West Award due to his hard work, consistency, and improvement compared to the previous season. He averaged 17.3 points a game, which was 5th in the entire Pac-12 conference. He was 2nd in the league in steals per game with 1.9, and he had 19 blocks in just 22 games played. That's pretty good for a guard. His coach, Dana Altman, then decided to come out and say that Duarte definitely deserved the award. He mentioned how he was clearly biased, being his head coach and all, but talked about how crucial Duarte has been to the team and especially throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. This was a seriously big deal for Chris, and I'm happy that the award went to somebody who was really deserving of it this year. Now we're on to number 2. Chris is a father. Yep, you heard that right. At age 24, Chris Duarte is a proud father of a baby boy. He's been in a long-lasting relationship with his girlfriend Silvina Velasquez, and the two announced that they were expecting a child towards the end of 2019. After a lot of thought, they came to the conclusion that the child should be named Christopher Jr. His father does everything in his power to get some free time to himself in order to see his child and girlfriend. And if you happen to tune into the NBA draft, you would have seen how adorable Christopher Jr. is too. When Duarte and his girlfriend sat down with a reporter for an interview shortly after he was drafted, they had their baby boy with them. And you could even hear him trying to talk into the microphone while his father was speaking.
People here in the United States.
Chris said that his son means everything to him and that he motivates him to continue to work harder and harder every single day. Now we're on to our number 1 fact. Chris does pretty much everything on the basketball court. That may not sound that crazy to think about nowadays, but Duarte is a player that every team would want to have on their roster. I believe that if it weren't for him being the oldest prospect in the 2021 draft class, he probably would have gone inside the top 10. This guy's a great three-point shooter who can step in right away and give the Pacers an instant offensive boost. Duarte has also shown an ability to make plays off the dribble instead of just sitting in the corner waiting for catch-and-shoot opportunities. Defensively, he's more than capable of taking on multiple positions. He has some decent length and height to combine with his quickness, which makes him one of the better defenders in the class. With the Pacers recently hiring the veteran coach Rick Carlisle during the offseason, the Duarte pick makes a lot of sense as the team hopes to compete as soon as possible. And personally, I don't think his age is even going to be that big of a factor because it just means he's got a lot more experience than some of those other young guys that were drafted. Every team nowadays needs that gritty guy who can shoot the three ball, be versatile defensively, and occasionally put the ball on the floor and make something happen for the team. Duarte, he checks off all those boxes and could be a superstar if his offensive game continues to develop at a solid rate. The truth is, the sky's the limit for this guy, and I'm pretty excited to see what he can do when we get into the regular season. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, and if you want more facts about rookies, then make sure to click on the 10 most unexpected Cade Cunningham facts up next.